What's up everybody, welcome back. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Gust Shadow Staraptor in the Open Great League. Obviously with Gust being the new Calm Day quick move for Staraptor, this thing is so oppressive. I mean, Staraptor as such is pretty attack weighted, the Shadow version is even more attack weighted, and with a move like Gust, it can apply so much fast move pressure against majority of the meta. I mean, even Pokemon like Registeel, which resists flying type moves, is going to take a lot of damage from Gust coming from a Shadow Staraptor, right? And obviously with access to charge moves like Brave Bird and Close Combat, it can hit for heavy neutral or super effective damage across the board. There are hardly any Pokemon in the meta which can resist both fighting and flying type moves. You could probably think of Pokemon like Alolan Raichu, Dedenne, Zapdos, Emolga, etc. But none of those Pokemon are very common, which is why Staraptor is pretty reliable in terms of being able to output a lot of damage, right? But obviously being the downside being that this thing is such a glass cannon, obviously the Shadow version is even more glassier, which is why it's not that reliable. But I'm going to be using Jellicent as the save swap and Shadow Swampert as the closer, because Swampert obviously covers up for a lot of Staraptor's weaknesses and vice versa as well. And there's some really fun battles in here, and let's get straight into it. So moving on to the first battle here, we have Staraptor into a Walrein. Not the ideal scenario, obviously this is a pretty negative lead. So I'm going to stay in for a bit, and then I'm going to try and catch an Icicle Spear on the Jellicent here, which we managed to do. This is perfect because obviously the Icicle Spear is resisted by Jellicent because of the water typing, and now they make a switch into their Sableye. So we got hard countered on the lead and we're getting hard countered on the save swap. Unfortunately, they swapped out pretty quickly, which means that they're going to be able to outpace it. It ends up being a CMP tie. Obviously, Sableye does win CMP against Jellicent. I do let that go through because I definitely need shield advantage for Staraptor. And as you can see, the Gust is just doing so much damage to Sableye. And also we are double resisting Shadow Claws because of the normal typing. So I'm going to try and commit to the complete farm down. Hopefully I can farm down before they can get to another foul play, which we do. And now we're at the back-to-back close combats. If the Walrein comes back in, I'm going to be able to get both of these off, right? We do live one powder snow, as you can see there, which we do survive. I'm able to get to the second close combat as the powder snow sneaks through. This is going to get the second shield from Walrein, and that takes out the Staraptor. That is fine. Now it's up to Swampert to close it out here. All I need to do is get to a Sludge Wave. They're trying to catch a Sludge Wave on their Nidoqueen. Luckily we don't throw. I'm going to overfarm just a little bit more just before they can get to a Poison Fang, and then go for the Hydro Cannon. Pretty much one shots the Nidoqueen there. Back in comes Walrein. I can safely shield this up, and even if they go for another Icicle Spear, that will actually not KO, but then I'm going to be able to get to a Sludge Wave here, and Sludge Wave is going to be able to take out the Walrein there. So obviously Staraptor taking the shields and Swampert taking the win towards endgame there. Again, Swampert obviously being one of the absolute best Pokemon across Go Battle League, irrespective of which league you're playing, right? Anyways, moving on to the next battle here, we have Staraptor into a Blastoise. Not the best lead here. I'm going to try and catch once again on Jellicent, which we managed to do. Everything Blastoise has is resisted by Jellicent. Obviously Hydro Cannon, Skull Bash, Ice Beam, everything is resisted because of the water. Ghost typing, they make a switch into the Registeel, which is fine by me. Again, I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball here, and it surprisingly gets the shield. And at this point, I'm assuming that they shielded, thinking that if we shielded, they were probably better off shielding the first move. They did that just so they could guarantee switch advantage, but I wasn't planning to shield the Jellicent anyways because I'm going to just save the shields for Staraptor. And the good thing about this matchup is that I'm going to actually come back with Staraptor because this is one of those matchups where obviously Registeel is applying very minimal fast move pressure. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to load up on energy. I'm going for the close combat here. It gets the shield. I'm going to switch into my Swampert. This could be a Focus Blast, so I'm going to shield this up. Unfortunately, they bait me with Zap Cannon and debuff me. So now they make a switch into the Azumarill. That is fine because Sludge Wave, even though it's debuffed, it's still going to do a lot of super effective damage. Obviously coming from a Shadow, does about 60% of Azumarill's health there, and also these mud shots are adding up as well, right? I cannot afford to shield this. I have to at least save one shield for Staraptor, so I'm going to let this go through. It is an Ice Beam. Luckily it's just an Ice Beam, so we actually survived that, and I'm able to build up to 2 Hydro Cannons here. I'm going to go for the first one, hoping this takes out the Azumarill, as it does there. Actually doesn't. We're able to mud shot, and I'm going to bank that energy and then basically come in with my Staraptor and go for the close combat right away here, and close combat will be taking out the Blastoise. And I mean, even though debuffed, as you can see, we're still basically just doing so much damage with Gust, right? Basically with that fast move damage, we're able to get the Registeel into almost like less than 50% health and put it into almost Hydro Cannon range, as you can see there. And they're going to go for a move. That's fine. I can shield this. We have actually more than 1 HP, so we're not going to get knocked out through the shield, and mud shot is basically going to take out the Registeel there. So I mean, Staraptor definitely came in clutch to help us pull a win there, but yeah, that was pretty close nevertheless. Moving on to the next one here, we have Staraptor into a Lickitung, a pretty solid matchup here, obviously because Lick is double resisted because of the normal typing on the Staraptor. I can survive one Body Slam, which is why I let that go through. Still does a ton of damage actually. It does almost like 60% of Staraptor's health. I was actually trying to catch the second Body Slam on Jellicent, doesn't work out, so I'm gonna have to absolutely shield this. And I didn't want to throw a move from Staraptor because I don't want to like throw a close combat because they had like very minimum HP left, and I felt like that was a bit of a waste of energy. So I decided to come into my Swampert and go for the Hydro Cannon here. Out comes Medicham. I'm able to get to the second Hydro Cannon right now, and this is going to do over 50% of Medicham's health, right? And I'm going to try and get to another Hydro Cannon here. Now, if this is a Power-Up Punch, we survive to get to another Hydro Cannon. But ends up being an Ice Punch, which we do survive. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get to the Hydro Cannon. That's completely fine because we have Jellicent, which is probably one of the hardest counters to Medicham in the game. And I can completely farm down the Medicham here, right? I'm not going to shield this, even if it's Psychic. I'm not worried about it. Does about 50% of Jellicent's health, and they have an Azumarill in the back. I was actually expecting them to have another fighter in the back because I think that's a fairly common line with Lickitung double fighters. But that's okay. Azumarill, we can definitely deal with Azumarill as well because Jellicent is a pretty solid matchup against it. I'm able to get to 2 Shadow Balls before they can even get off a move here. And Shadow Ball does quite a bit of damage against Azumarill on the CMP. I'm going to have to shield this, right? I have to shield this. This could be a play rough here. Unfortunately, they bait me with Ice Beam, so that's not ideal. I'm going to try and get to the next Shadow Ball here because we have 2 moves. I at least need to get 1 shield out of the way, right? Because we have 2 moves on Staraptor. And I mean, obviously, one of them, I would need to use one of them to get the shield and the next one to basically KO. They go for another move. This is going to be a play rough. That's fine. And because they went for the play rough, they're not going to get to another move. So I'm going to completely commit to the Gust farm down right now. Back in comes Medicham. I'm going for the close combat bait here. And even close combat would probably KO from this range. And it gets the shield. And now I can just go for the Brave Bird. And Brave Bird is pretty much overkill from this range. And it's absolutely easily going to one-shot the Medicham and take the win for us there. So pretty close one, honestly. Again, if they'd gotten off an extra counter through, we probably would have fainted because of how glassy Staraptor is. But then again, that was fine. Moving on to the next one here, we have a Trevenant, absolute dream lead. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better. Staraptor completely walls Trevenant. They make a switch into the Azumarill, we go into the Jellicent, and the only thing I need to make sure here is that I need to win this mid game, right? I absolutely need switch advantage because I cannot have my Swampert go up against their Trevenant. And I'm going to overfarm quite a bit here, and I'm going for the Shadow Ball. Unfortunately, because I was slightly slow to switch out, they're going to be able to outpace me into the second play rough, as you can see there. They get to the play rough before I can get to a Shadow Ball. And I'm going to shield this, right? Even though we can survive that, if I no shield that and they end up shielding the Shadow Ball, they're going to win switch advantage, which is going to be an absolute nightmare for me. So I'm going for the Shadow Ball here, and this Shadow Ball actually connects, and they actually let that go through. Probably they realized that we were close to another Shadow Ball. We win switch advantage. Back in comes Trevenant, but the good thing is we won switch advantage, and also we're going to be able to get that shield back, right? Because Shadow Ball will one-shot the Trevenant. They do shield that, and unfortunately they're going to be able to farm down, which is not ideal. But then again, all of that energy is going to be useless against Staraptor because Staraptor completely walls Trevenant. They actually make a switch into their A9. I go into my Swampert here, and the only thing I need to make sure again is that I need to get off 2 Hydro Cannons here, right? I need to get the first Hydro Cannon off to get the shield, and the second Hydro, I absolutely need to land a Hydro Cannon. Unfortunately, we lag a little bit here. They get the extra charm through. I was actually really worried about if this charm would take me out, but luckily we barely survived to get off the second Hydro Cannon. And Hydro Cannon will do massive damage against Ninetales, near one-shots. Actually, this is perfect for me because I'm able to get 1 extra Gust worth of energy. And all I need to do right now is go for a Brave Bird. They throw an alignment. It's going to be a Seed Bomb. This is obviously resisted. Still does a ton of damage, but then again, we have a Brave Bird ready to go, and Brave Bird is, I mean, it's probably going to take out like 3 Trevenants, I guess, coming from a Shadow Staraptor, but once again, extremely close there. That Trevenant was probably very close to a second Seed Bomb. They're probably like 1 Shadow Claw short, but yeah, it was very close nevertheless. Moving on to the next one here, we have Staraptor into a Magcargo. That's a pretty, interesting pick. Honestly, you don't see too many people running Magcargo in the Open Great League because this thing kind of struggles against a lot of Pokemon in the meta. That was obviously a negative lead, which is why I switched into my Jellicent. Obviously, we have 2 solid responses to Magcargo. They actually come in with their Surf Edge, which is pretty interesting. They're obviously running either of Night Slash or Reef Blade, which is going to be super effective. But we don't have to shield one of those. I'm not going to shield the first one just in case they get the boost. And they go for the Night Slash and they get the boost. So luckily, we didn't shield the first one. I'm definitely going to shield the second one because I need switch advantage, right? I absolutely need to make sure that I can line up my Swampert against their Magcargo. So I go for the Shadow Ball here, and if this gets the shield, I should be able to outpace them to the next move. It does get the shield. I'm able to get to the next Shadow Ball as well. This Shadow Ball is going to do enough damage to take out the Surf Edge, and we basically managed to win switch and shield advantage, which is huge. Now Magcargo is going to come in and farm down. They have a ton of energy right now. That's completely fine. We have Swampert, which is probably the hardest Magcargo counter in the game, and we can comfortably tank any of this. Everything is resisted. They go for the Rock Tomb to get the debuff. They make a switch at their Medicham. I go into my Staraptor, and at this point this game should be over, but then again it's not quite over because as you can see, Staraptor is taking so much damage from counters, right? And unfortunately they bait me with Power Up Punch, And I was trying to farm down, but they get to a last second move. This is just going to be a power-up punch. The question is, can we survive it? We barely survived the power-up punch, enough to get to a close combat here. And again, close combat is going to do massive, super effective damage and just one-shot the Magcargo. That honestly, we didn't even need that. I mean, we still had a Swampert in the back, but then again, if they... I mean, I think my Swampert was just about an overheat range, so that would have been close. So it's a good thing we got the close combat off anyway. So we started off pretty positive, but then again, there are going to be some tough matches, especially against Pokemon like Altaria in the lead, which can be tricky because this team is ABA weak to Altaria. As you can see, those Dragon Breaths are absolutely shredding through Staraptor, right? I have to shield this here, and then at this point, I'm going to bank a Brave Bird and then switch in my Jellicent here, and I'm hoping they throw right now, but they actually bank a bunch of energy before switching out into their Scrafty. So obviously one of those matchups where having Ice Beam helps because it's going to do a significant amount of neutral damage. I guess they were trying to catch a Shadow Ball there, but I was planning to throw the Ice Beam anyways. But they go for a move. We tank a Foul Play from this range because it is non-boosted at this point, and we barely survive the Foul Play, even though my Jellicent doesn't have the best PvP IVs. I'm able to get to an Ice Beam as well, and this Ice Beam is going to do massive damage against a Scrafty. And at this point, I'm not comfortable coming back with Staraptor because I'm worried about if counter would take me down before the Gust damage registers. So I come in with my Swampert to completely farm down, and back in comes Altaria. I have to shield this, right? Because I need to preserve the health of my Swampert because Staraptor is very low, and it's basically up to Swampert to close out this game. I'm over farming just ever so slightly before they can get to the second Sky attack here. Hydro Cannon actually takes out the Altaria, which is nice, and they have an A9 in the back. Once again, I absolutely need to get 2 Hydro Cannons here. We lag just a little bit. I'm able to get the first Hydro Cannon. Once again, the question is the same. Can we get to the second Hydro Cannon? I think the charm snuck through. And unfortunately, we don't get to the second Hydro Cannon, and because of that, we're going to lose this game here. If I'd gotten the second Hydro Cannon off, and if we'd gotten a shield, then I could have gone for the Brave Bird to one-shot the A9, but unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. Moving on to the next one here, we have Staraptor into a Talonflame on the lead. This is actually a not the worst situation to be in. I'm actually going to go do one fast move and then switch into my Jellicent here. They're probably going to go for a Brave Bird. That's fine. We can tank a Brave Bird. So I'm going to let this go through. Does massive damage, and now they make a switch into their Berserker. So just as well that we didn't shield because I don't think I could have gotten off more than one move anyways. So I go for the Shadow Ball. They let that go through, and it does massive damage here. So I'm basically going to come in with my Staraptor because we are double resisting those Shadow Claws. I'm hoping they go for Foul Play here. Or I was thinking they would go for Foul Play, but they actually end up going for close combat. Just one-shots the Staraptor there, and it's basically up to Swampert to clean up right now. So again, this is going to be pretty tricky here because they still have 2 shields, but they have an Alolan Sandslash with Shadow Claw in the back. And all of a sudden, Swampert is smelling blood here, right? Again, this is actually a pretty solid situation for Swampert to be in because I'm going to be able to get to a Hydro Cannon here. I'm definitely shielding up everything the Sandslash throws, and I'm always going to be ahead. Like, I'm always going to store a Hydro Cannon and then throw one because, again, just in case they switch into the Talonflame, I need to be able to overfarm just a little bit more, right? I go for the second Hydro Cannon here, and at this point, they try to catch the next one on the Talonflame, but we don't throw right away. I'm going to build up to the back-to-back. I throw an alignment, which means that they sneak an extra through. It doesn't really matter because that's not going to register because it's going to one-shot anyways. I do one extra mod shot and then throw the Hydro Cannon once again on the Alolan Sandslash here. This will absolutely one-shot or near one-shot the Alolan Sandslash, and we can safely shield this up. Not sure why they're throwing. They're probably very close to 2, but one mod shot is going to be able to take out the Alolan Sandslash anyway. So Swampert covering up a Staraptor there. Staraptor wasn't able to do much, but luckily we still had a Swampert in the back, and that was a very interesting team. They had like all 3 of the Pokemon were weak to Swampert, so definitely interesting for sure. We have a Registeel in the lead, which is actually pretty good for Staraptor, but then again, the downside is that Psychic or Dark Pulse is going to do a lot of damage, right? It's obviously just going to be a Dark Pulse. I still choose to shield that, and they make a switch into their Walrein. I try to catch a move on the Jellicent, which we managed to do once again. This is going to be an Icicle Spear, which is resisted, and then I should be able to get to a Shadow Ball before they can get to an Earthquake here. I overfarm just a little bit more and throw the Shadow Ball just before they can get to an Earthquake here. Shadow Ball is going to do massive damage against Walrein. Unfortunately, doesn't quite KO. Ends up being a CMP tie. This is going to be an Earthquake. I can't afford to shield this. I have to let this go. Earthquake does massive damage, and I should be able to farm down, and I'm really hoping I can get to a Shadow Ball against the Scoffagrigus, but we die to the Shadow Claw. So that's not good for me. I'm basically, this Scoffagrigus is actually kind of loaded right now. So I'm basically going to come with my Staraptor and go for the Brave Bird right away to force that shield or pretty much knock out the Scoffagrigus. It actually gets the shield, so immediately switching to my Swampert right now. I was trying to catch a Dark Pulse there, but they don't throw, unfortunately. And now they come in with their Scrafty. So it's actually not the worst situation to be in. I'm going to basically get off as many Hydro Cannons as I can. I'm able to land the first one, which does about 60% of Scrafty's health. I'm able to get to the second one as well. And the second one gets the shield from Scrafty. And I'm not going to shield this. I have to preserve the shield for Staraptor for a potential Dark Pulse coming from the Scoffagrigus. Right? I'm trying to get to another Hydro Cannon. Unfortunately, we faint before we get to it. And this puts puts us in a very tricky spot because Crafty has enough for a foul play, so I have to shield this because it's a boosted foul play. And unfortunately, because of that, Goffagrigus is going to be able to come back in and go for the Dark Pulse, and this is going to take out the Staraptor. That was a very nice play on their part. I mean, we would have lost that game one way or another. It was just, it was tricky either way. There's nothing much we could have done there, right? But we finished with a 3-2 set. Again, like I said, not the most ideal team comp. I mean, not the most ideal Pokemon, I should say, because obviously it's very frail and it's not the most reliable as far as climbing elo is concerned. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.